This is the Galaxy S10 Plus. It's Samsung's latest and greatest. I've spent the last few weeks with it as my main phone, and I'm ready to give you guys my full review. So without sugarcoating things, I'll go ahead and start off by saying this is a fantastic phone. It's the best all-around option I think you can get right now, and it checks pretty much every box there is to check, moving it incredibly close to being a perfect smartphone. Now don't worry, I'm not saying that it is a perfect smartphone because there are indeed some things that are holding it back. But this is a phone I think you should look into getting this year, and here's why. For starters, the hardware is great and the phone looks very nice. It's got a shinier polished frame, which I love. I really dig the flashy look. The corners are sharper, which give it a more professional look, and it makes it feel more note-like than ever. And of course, it's got that good old glass back, which is great for wireless charging, but not so great for smudges. There's little that I dislike more than holding a heavily fingerprint-laden phone. Ugh. I went with Dbrand's Swarm Skin this time around, and I really enjoy the look and feel of this one, and I like the way it complements this silver frame. You can check this and other skins out using the link in the description. So there's no question that this phone looks nice, but there is one thing that I'm not a huge fan of, and that's the power button's rather high placement. I will admit it was annoying at first. I mean, even the Note 9's button isn't this high up, but I got used to it over time. I just feel that with this being a not so small phone, the button should be lower for added comfort. Other than that, it's classic Samsung hardware. Super solid, very well made, and nicely put together, with a great list of features not every phone can say it has, notably the headphone jack, which is still hanging around here in 2019. I like that. All that aside, there's nothing about this phone's design that stands out more than its display. It is phenomenal. It's currently the best display on a smartphone. It's super bright, very sharp, vibrant, and color accurate. It is absolutely gorgeous, and you'd expect nothing less in the latest from Samsung. The bezels got even smaller. The notch has successfully been avoided yet again, but this time around we get this hole punch cut out, and I'm gonna be real with you, it doesn't bother me in the least bit. Samsung did a solid job kind of making it part of the status bar. Not only is it way better than a notch, it also opens the door for neat wallpaper ideas like these. There's an app dedicated to collecting these, there are a bunch of them online, and even Samsung is embracing this cutout by putting out some wallpapers of their own. Personally, I love this idea. Having said that, I do know there are a good amount of people who actually prefer something like a teardrop notch over this because it's symmetrical, and I get that. But really, this never bothered me in everyday usage, and I don't think most people will mind either. Now, getting into user experience, this is where the S10 Plus really earns most of its praise. While I know a lot of people cringe at the thought of basically anything that has to do with Samsung's software design language, I actually don't mind One UI that much. In fact, I kinda like it. And it's even gotten to the point where after creating a Nova Launcher setup, as you guys know I usually do, I happened to open up the Samsung Experience Launcher again, and then I decided to stay there. Yeah, believe it or not, I've stuck with the stock launcher and haven't had the urge to go back to Nova or any other third-party launcher. I probably will eventually, but this is the absolute longest that I've stuck with a stock Samsung launcher without that nagging feeling to use something else. I'm comfortable where I'm at least for now. I feel this is a testament to how much better Samsung's skin has gotten over the years, and maybe I'm just weird, but One UI feels tailor-made for this phone, and it just looks and works better than it does on previous Galaxy phones. Now, performance overall is great. There really isn't much else to say here other than it's fast and smooth, lag-free, so no complaints there. Battery life is pretty stinking awesome too. I get anywhere from 6 to 7 hours of screen on time with heavy use, everything maxed out. That 4100 mAh battery is killing it. It's the most powerful Galaxy phone yet. It flies through everything that I put it through, and it endures power user usage like it's nothing. This really is a beast of a phone, so A+ for performance, no question. As usual, there are features everywhere, and I mean everywhere. That's to be expected, but I think Samsung is doing a good job of keeping them organized in a way where if you don't need them, they're out of sight, out of mind, and they don't get in your way, and if you do need them, they're pretty easy to locate and operate. Like the skin or not, One UI is the cleanest Samsung experience yet, and for the most part, they kind of want you to take control and make the phone work the way you want. You've got your usual suite of tweaks and customizations and adjustments that you can make to the UI and UX, but a couple things that are new are Google's own digital well-being. That's nice to see here, and I'm pretty sure you guys are familiar with this by now. They've implemented a dark mode that you can enable manually or set to turn on and off automatically based on the time of day. And there's Bixby routines. If you're familiar with if this then that, you should feel right at home with this. While I haven't taken full advantage of it just yet, it's actually a very useful tool, and it goes back to what I was saying about Samsung wanting you to take more control of your phone and how it works. One thing I did set up was for when my Galaxy Buds connect to my phone, so as soon as they do, Spotify opens up automatically. The list of things that you can do with this is pretty big, and I hope to see more functionality added to it. Speaking of Bixby, of course, its button is still here, but you can remap it to open up an application of your choosing, which is great. But of course, Samsung's like, okay, we'll let you guys change what app opens when you press the button, but we're gonna make it so that Bixby can still be opened up. Oh, and we're not gonna give you the option to open up any other assistant, okay? So yeah, there's a trade-off. Better than nothing though. Continuing on with some of the new stuff this phone has to offer, we've got wireless power share and this ultrasonic fingerprint reader. Now, as gimmicky as reverse wireless charging may seem, there are actually some use cases for it that make me want to see it in more phones moving forward. I think the best use cases for this are maybe if your friend's phone is about to die and you want to donate a few minutes to get their phone to something like 10 or 15% as a last resort, just to keep them up and running for a little while longer, and to use it to charge accessories, so something like the Galaxy Watch or Galaxy Buds, basically items with smaller batteries. You're probably not going to want to try charging a friend's phone up any significant amount for obvious reasons. One, it'll take a while, it's not the fastest form of charging, and two, you want your phone to have a little juice left of its own after all. Either way, I didn't find myself using this feature that much, but I do like that it is there. Now, about this fingerprint reader, I think the technology behind it is great. It uses sound waves to read your fingerprint, so it's more secure than any of the other in-display scanners we've seen so far, but unfortunately, it doesn't seem to be working well for everyone. Now, in my experience, it's worked nicely. It's not perfect, it's not as fast or as accurate as I would like it to be, and it does require you to look at the phone to see where exactly your finger needs to go, which kind of stinks, so no more no-look unlocks, until I master that at least, but it gets the job done, so I'm fine with it overall. The sad part is that some other users have reported pretty much the complete opposite, stating that it just doesn't work that well at all. So while it's definitely a step forward in tech, some do feel it's a step back in practicality. In all honesty, to me, it's not a reason to stay away from the phone, so it's not a deal breaker. Just be ready for something new to get used to. Oh, and get ready for no more swipe down gesture to access the notification shade. Since we're on the topic of biometric security options, I did want to mention that it actually took me a little while to notice that there is no more iris scanning, and we're left with a basic, not so secure 2D face unlock. It's actually pretty fast and very convenient, but it can be spoofed, so I may not recommend that you guys use this as your primary form of device security. It just shows that Samsung really wants you to use the new tech with the ultrasonic fingerprint reader. Let's talk about those cameras, shall we? The S10 sports 5 of them. Yes, 5. Starting with the main 3 sensors on the back, you've got wide angle, telephoto, and ultra wide. I'll go ahead and toss up some photos that I took, and I'll let you guys be the judge of how good they are. What I will say is that there are some improvements over the cameras on previous Galaxy phones. As slight as those improvements may be, they're there. The pictures aren't a huge step up from the S9, but they remain in the top tier, and I'm positive most people will be pleased with these results. The front-facing camera got an update as well, including a secondary lens which acts as a depth sensor. Pictures using this camera come out a decent amount sharper and cleaner than before, which is great, but they're still pretty Samsungized, if you know what I mean. I do prefer the Pixel for everyday stills, but overall the S10's cameras are very good. In low light is where they struggle a good amount, especially when compared to what we get from Huawei and Google, which is pretty unfortunate. Shots in general still tend to be overexposed. That's classic Samsung, but all in all, the camera experience is very solid and I don't think you'll be disappointed with it, especially considering the overall versatility of these cameras. The ultra wide angle is pretty fun to use. Video recording got better with more stabilization, the front facing camera can now record in 4K, and the slew of features and different shooting modes you'll have access to. It's good stuff. So that's the Galaxy S10 Plus. It's not super innovative, it's not groundbreaking, and it doesn't completely tower over other phones to the point where everything else just becomes obsolete. However, yes, it is the best Android phone out right now, and I do think you should get one if you're in the market for a new phone. It's currently my main phone, and it'll continue to be just that indefinitely. I know it's not the most budget-friendly phone out there, and we're well aware of Samsung's track record with things like software updates, for example. But the cons list is smaller than ever, further justifying its price tag. Having said that, 2019 looks like it's going to be a great year for phones, and the Galaxy S10, with everything that it has to offer and all of the boxes that it checks, in my eyes, make it the phone to beat. So what do you guys think of the Galaxy S10? Let us know by dropping your comments down below. As always, we love to hear your feedback. That does it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, feel free to hit that like button and subscribe to the Android Police channel if you're new. That does it for me. I will talk to you guys later, and thank you so much for watching.